a journey of learning how to thrive through lifelong disability, divorce at 26, and the death of my beloved spouse, husband at 38, and threw me into solo motherhood, going on 4 years in April.
So thank you for that. Tell us a little bit about that journey because that's quite a bit to go through early on. Like tell us how you were able to come out the person you are, but to start everyone else and bring everyone up to speed, how was it for you, your state of mind going through that journey that you just described?
Well, I mean, the first D in the triple A, the 38 triple D is lifelong disability because I came into this world disabled before I even took my first breath or my first day. I was already blind and, you know, totally blind where I didn't see anything. And depending on your background and your audience's background, I'm a woman of faith, a Christian background. And so in my family, we believe at 7 months old that the Lord decided to heal me in the sense that while I do see now and have seen for most of my life, it's still impaired, but it was a healing from going completely dark to then being able to see. There's a lot of ins and outs to my disability of legal blindness, and it's complicated, but I think I developed four things, well, more than that, but four kind of approaches, I would say, or thought processes, even though I may not have known how to think of them at a young age kid, but that have helped me through that adversity. And then when I came into the other adversities of divorce and death of my husband in 2017, I think having those skill sets already kind of in place, the need for them were kind of more magnified, and it allowed me to use them. Being legally blind or visually impaired my whole life, I've always had to think outside the box. And a lot of times when you're lacking in one area or you're disabled in one area in the body, the other parts of your body tend to compensate. So I have really crazy good hearing and good memory. And I memorize a lot of things. I'm very organized. Chaos is not my friend. I don't do that well. I'm very much a planner. I've always had accommodations. I've always had to be determined and work hard. And I mean, everyone works hard, but I mean, more so than the average person, because when you live in a world that's, you know, predominantly geared based off of vision, you have to find other ways of adapting into a world when you don't have your vision. So like I did all audiobooks since fifth grade, or I had readers, or I had scribes, or, you know, people read to me or whatever. I do a lot of things in technology where it's magnified, you know, or enlarged, you know, various different things. I've always been of the opinion that life is a choice. I may not get to choose my circumstances any more than I didn't get to choose being born disabled, or yes, I walked away from my first marriage, but I didn't choose the circumstances that caused me to walk away, or the lack of good decisions on my first husband's behalf that caused that to not go the way it should have. Um, and I didn't choose to have be a widow at 38 and be a solo mom and my two babies to lose their father. But is it easy? No, but I get to choose what to do within those circumstances, and I can choose whether I'll be defined by the circumstances, or do I get to define what my life looks like.
And I agree, and that's a beautiful way of putting it. Because you mentioned the triple D, you mentioned the disability, the divorce, and the deceased spouse. And over the last, I want to say maybe 2 to 3 months, I've talked to so many people that have a physical disability. Either it's mobility, either it's cerebral palsy, either it's mental, either it's a blind legal blindness, like yourself. And I have found that these people no different than anyone else, and I think sometimes we tend to view people as less than, but they're not. They're just someone that's going through something. And I've been blessed, fortunately, that the community, the disability community, has embraced me the way it has, and they've shared these stories. And for you to share the story as well, it shows how strong and determined
You have
the
to be if you
community is.
want to.
Exactly.
I mean, if you, okay, life is a choice. So if you're a person who's in a different circumstances from most people, if you choose to have that situation not stop you, then you don't have a choice in how you have to get around it. So I chose to be at the point of view of that. And I was raised by parents that, even though they were told what the doctors and the medical profession thought I wouldn't be able to do or not do, because I was kind of a guinea pig because there was no family history in my family about this condition. And so no one had anything to go based off of, like, well, it looks like this, so she should do that. There was nothing to compare it to. So no one really knew what they were in for. So we kind of just had to go with it and see what happened. But I was raised with do what you can, do the best you can and see what you can do with it, and don't stop and don't quit and don't give up. So I've always chosen to choose to do what I can, to never stop, never give up, don't quit, don't let it stand in my way to the best of my abilities. Now, I do have limitations. Like, I will never be able to drive. Like, it's not advisable for someone who's legally blind to be on the highway. Okay. That's a given. There's no getting around that one. But the other things about academia and accomplishing my goals and my dreams, I can find ways of thinking outside the box, even if it requires me to do more, and not let it stop me. So I've always been, let me do what I can, let me do the best I can and see what happens. And I'm not going to not do something just because someone told me no. I'm going to say, I'm going to prove your ass wrong, excuse my French, I don't know how else to say it. And you're going to hold my beer and sit back and watch. Okay. And let's do it. So that's a big part of the equation. And I think for the part of the disabled population who chooses that path in life, they have to be that way in order to do what they do. So they develop this hardworking, this willpower, strong will, determination, persistence, perseverance, and tenacity just to do what they have to do. That may be as the same normal stuff as the next person, but because they have extra things in their way or things to contend with or overcome, they have to do all that much more just to do what normal people do on a regular daily basis. And if they want to really do anything really important, not important, but go the extra mile per se and what they want to accomplish, then they have to do all that much more. So it's just, you either do or you don't.
Yeah, and that's why you're highlighting that because you mentioned we all have a choice, right? In many areas of our life, we just have to identify what that choice is. And you made a good point. It either could define you or you redefine it. And as you mentioned, when you're going through this, that process must have been, from the outside looking in, it looks like it's a difficult process. But as you mentioned, you had the support, you had the faith. Even though you had these two things, which are very important and very strong, did you still find that it was difficult in the beginning to go through what you were going through?
I don't really remember the beginning per se because I was a baby, because I've had it my whole life. So I've never taken a breath, I've never taken a day where I wasn't disabled. So I don't have, like, I'll never know what it's like to see normally or know what to compare it to. But as I got older and came into understanding and realizing what this looks like in life, I do have a better context of those examples because as we get older, we remember more. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know many people that remember much before they're like 5 that their parents didn't tell them about or something. But
Well,
I
that's what I
do,
meant, right? I meant
yeah,
like when you're reaching the age where you're aware.
yeah. I remember being in school and I was always the kid that was on the front row. I always had accommodations. Depending what year we're talking about, I was the one with the bifocals and the trifocals and different technology. And, everyone knew I always took longer to do assignments or homework. Different challenges that just because I chose the path of not letting it stand in my way doesn't mean it was a cakewalk or that it was easy. I just made the decision that no matter what it was, I was going to try and do what I had to do.